Hello, Flosstube. Hello again. My name is Sarah. Today is Wednesday, June 28th, and we're going to talk about cross-stitch. You might notice I'm in a different place than my first video. I am actually at my family's lake cabin in New Jersey. I've been here for about a week. The weather is really nice today. It's been thunderstorming on and off for the last week or so, and I haven't gotten to spend as much time outside or out on this awesome big screen porch that we have, which is, I'm like sitting in one of my favorite places in the entire world right now. So, you also might notice my voice is a little hoarse. I got a sore throat cold that I'm getting over. I think it's pretty much done with. I'm also using my dad's headphones that have a microphone on them to hopefully combat any of the breeze sounds or extraneous sounds or wind chimes that we've got over there. I'm going to give a WIP update, maybe a very short little life update, and talk about some projects that I want to do. I used to only do about one, maybe two projects at a time, and as I've been getting more into cross-stitch recently, I find myself wanting to do many projects at once. All right, so let's check on those WIPs. I keep thinking it's been, about a month since I filmed the first video, and I've been cross-stitching every day, and so I keep thinking I need to film again because I'm getting so much further on my projects. I gotta show you guys how they're going. I'm now keeping them in this canvas bag. The brown purse that I showed off in the first video, I really like that purse, but one of the straps is starting to come apart from the purse. I'm gonna try and fix it. We'll see if anybody has advice about fixing. I'm not sure if it's leather or faux leather. I might just try to hot glue it. We'll see. First up, I have a finish. Just finished it this morning. It is the it's the Rochester house portrait. The last bit that I had to finish this morning was just this little portion of grass. And I actually thought I didn't have, when I finished this part of the grass, I thought I didn't have more of the green DMC thread that I was using for the grass. Turns out I did bring it with me. Good job. So I was able to finish it this morning, with the exception of signing my name, and I think I'm going to put the address of the house underneath, but I won't show you that part for privacy. I mean, maybe I'll show you the signature part. Maybe I'll throw in an image if I do that soon. Probably will. I've been playing around with different ways to kind of work my initials in there. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I was really happy with how all the sort of half-stitch foliage came out, and then also I was happy with how the bricks came out. It's a little hard to see. But I'll throw in, I took a couple pictures while I was doing it. I stitched the kind of purpley brown undercolor and then sort of the gold mortar color for the bricks around it. Yeah, and I'd done that once before on the house portrait of my current house, and it turned out even better on this one, I think. I'm very excited to gift this to them. I'll probably just send it to them in the mail, hopefully framed, and hopefully mailing that won't be too pricey. Next up, we have the Maneki Neko kitty cat. I think I've done quite a bit more since when I showed it to you before. Yeah. So I did a whole bunch of the red. I did some some of the kind of golden color. I think I've done all of the slightly darker of the light browns. There's not as much contrast between the lightest brown and the slightly darker brown as I thought there was going to be. But looks fine. Not going to worry about it. She's so cute. I love her little smile. Maybe I should get something to hold up behind the works when I show them to you so they're not so backlit. Well, but there's only one more. Yeah. Not going to bother. I'm going to do it the easy way. Here's the pattern of what the cat will look like when she's all done. And as I said last time, this is a pattern that I made myself on Excel with the help of Pixel Stitch. So first I put a poster image. I edited a poster image slightly and then put it into Pixel Stitch, and then further edited a little bit in Excel, Microsoft Excel. And one thing I did at the request of the friend who I'm making this for is I made the calico cat splotches a little less symmetrical, a little less like targets or bullseyes. Made them look a little more natural and splotchy. And I did my best. I flipped the image because the original image had the Maneki Neko raising its left paw, which is more appropriate if you have it in a business or something. And if you're putting it up in a home, having the right paw raised is more appropriate. The next WIP is the one that I'm having the most fun with and am probably the most excited about. And it is another gift request from a friend. It is the Thundercats. I've just kind of laid it on a pillow to try and give you a better look at it. So we've got Panthro, Chitara, and this guy is the tiger guy. I don't remember what his name is. I really don't know much about the Thundercats TV show. I think it was an 80s or 90s era animated TV show that my friend enjoyed watching when he was a kid and asked for the Thundercats. But yeah, it's been so much fun to stitch, and it's a nice level of complexity and simplicity. Lots of big blocks of color. And in some ways that seems easier, but then sometimes it's easier to mess up if you're not counting really carefully. So initially when I did Panthro, I made his jaw here a little too wide, and I frogged that and fixed it. My favorite color to stitch so far has been this blue, this like purpley blue. I'll throw up what DMC color that is. Oh, unfortunately there's not a ton of it in the pattern. Panthro is the only blue character, so there's not a lot more of that blue to stitch with, but I'll have to find another project to use that color. And last time I don't think I showed you the pouch that I was keeping this in. I might not have had it actually in this pouch in the previous bag, but it's in this zippered pouch. I think this used to be like a big sign or a billboard or something, like it's a piece of recycled sign or billboard. And it came from a super cool living museum in southern England. I was there because Evan had a academic conference last year. While he was busy at the conference, my friend Maddie and I, the crochet cross-stitch friend Maddie, we went to the Weald and Downland Living Museum, which I would highly recommend if you're ever in southern England. It was really cool. Just a little tag. Weald and Downland. They had all of these homes, building structures ranging from I think the early 1700s to, I'll look it up and tell you what dates. Yeah, so you could just walk around and look inside these buildings. There were lots of people there dressed in period clothing and doing period appropriate gardening and sewing and things, but they weren't in character. They were there to talk to you and tell you all about the museum and the place. So in terms of future projects that I want to do, I got one of my new favorite things to do is get books out of the library and then scan parts of the books. So I've been getting a bunch of vegan and vegetarian cookbooks out of the library and going through them and then scanning the recipes that I want to make. And I also discovered that my library has several cross-stitch books, including 3 by Emma Congdon. She has 3 books. Maybe she might be coming out with a 4th. The books are called Cross Stitch for the Soul, Cross Stitch for the Heart, and Cross Stitch for the Earth. Cross Stitch for the Earth was probably my favorite. But she, I think, is originally a graphic designer and had a whole bunch of patterns. Most of them kind of text-based. I'll put up some images of the patterns, especially the ones that I'm most excited to do. And yeah, so I'd highly recommend looking at Emma Congdon's work. I think there's also an Etsy shop where some of her designs are available, but I really liked the ones that were in these books. So I want to do some of those, especially the John Muir quote about between two pines. I forget exactly how it goes. I'll put up an image of that. And then I'm interested in doing a temperature cross stitch. I've seen a lot of people do them, and I found one that I like a lot, and I think that would be kind of a fun, easy one, especially one where I don't have to concentrate really hard on a pattern. What else? I would like to try Blackwork. I've only done a teeny tiny bit, and not really a whole pattern, just kind of trying out some of the stitches, but it looks really cool. I'd love to do that. So if you have favorite Blackwork patterns, please feel free to comment and share them. I'd also like to do some kind of sampler, something a little more traditional. So if you have a favorite sampler pattern, I'd be happy to see that as well. I'm trying to decide if I want to add something else to my videos. Like Kelsey at X Stitch and Chill has her chill time at the end where she talks about what she is listening to or watching while she stitches. And I like that idea, but I don't want to steal her thing. I have watched TV while I stitch, but often I will listen to something. Sometimes I'll watch Flosstube, but usually it's something that I am listening to, because I find that if I'm watching something but not actually looking at it, I get less enjoyment out of it than if I'm looking and listening. So while I'm cross-stitching, I tend to listen to audiobooks or podcasts, or not really music. I do listen to music other times around the house. The most recent audiobooks I listened to were Bleak House by Charles Dickens, which was very long, but really good. And that was one that I was reading with some friends for a virtual book club. We'd meet on Zoom every couple weeks, or maybe every month. It's probably about every month. Yeah, that was a great book. It was long, but it was good. Charles Dickens is a fun writer. I'd only ever listened to A Christmas Carol by him before. Again, another audiobook. I also was just listening to Ender's Shadow, or re-listening. It's a book that I've listened to before. It's kind of a companion book to Ender's Game, which is one of my favorite books, despite some of the views of the author. Yeah, it's a science fiction. They're both science fiction books. One way I thought of ending my videos is with some kind of random tip, which is inspired by one of my favorite podcasts, which is the Life Kit Podcast by NPR. They always end their episodes, I think it's them who always ends their episodes with some kind of random useful tip. So if I decide to do that, here's your random useful tip. Thanks again for watching my second Flosstube. Hopefully it will be shorter than the first one, and hopefully the editing process will be faster and easier. I hope the sound was okay. My dad was just walking around looking for his headphones, so I gotta give these back. And yeah, thanks for joining me at the lake. I'll try to stick in a picture of what the lake actually looks like. It's very small. Don't picture any water skiing or anything. It's only about a mile wide at its longest point, but gosh, it's a nice place to be, even when it's thunderstorming. Bye.